Welcome back to another Wisdom Wednesday discussion. I am your guide, generating, uplifting, inspiring, developing, and empowering you to live inspired every day, forever, because that's life. I go by Sans Inspire. And if this is your first time here, I want you to know that our mission, our intent is to uplift, empower, and inspire. And today, our discussion is going to revolve around you. We're talking about the power of self-discovery, unlocking your true potential, or our true potential. As always, we want to start with an affirmation. So today, we are going to affirm that I am committed to self-discovery and unlocking my true potential. And the reason why this is important is because we don't want to just say it. We don't want to just talk. We want to walk as well. We want to put the action behind our words. That is where the intent comes. So when we are intentful, when we are intent on changing ourselves, we must affirm that. We must affirm who we are and what is it that we are wanting to receive, or what are we after. So that's the I am. And what are we? We are committed to self-discovery. Why? Because we want to unlock our true potential. Because we're tired of hearing about all we can be and what we can do. Now we want to see about it. We want to bring that to our reality and make it true. And in this discussion, that's exactly what we're going to do. So my opening question that I want to pose to you is, who are you behind the roles that you play? Who are you behind the roles that you play? Whether you are mother, father, brother, sister, friend, spouse, teacher, doctor, all these different roles that we play. But who are we really? This is the question that maybe we don't ask ourselves, but I believe that internally we wonder, who am I? Or who are you when no one is watching? Like when you Macaulay Culkin and you home alone, who are you? When there's nothing to prove and nothing to protect, who are you? At the deepest level, what they say, the cellular level, who are you deep, deep, deep down inside? We want to discover that. And you can't necessarily discover that in a day, right? So you can't just watch this video or attend this discussion and be like, I've discovered myself. Yet it's the start to that. And if you've already been on that journey, then maybe you are discovering more, digging deeper, uncovering things that maybe you didn't know. Yet we have to start somewhere. And so we are going to start with ourselves, and we are going to ponder, and we're going to dive deep into, who am I when nobody's watching? Who am I when there's nothing to prove? Who am I when there's nothing to protect? Acting as if, or reflecting as if you have it all already. Like, who would you be? If you had everything you ever wanted, who would you be? What does that look like? Not like everybody thinks like Scrooge McDuck swimming in money and you're like, yes, if I had all the money in the world. No, no, no. If you had like no worries, your bills, no bills, none of that, who would you be? And the scriptural wisdom that we have to back this up is found in 2 Corinthians 13:5, where it says, examine yourselves whether ye be in faith. Prove your own selves. Self-examination is where true growth begins. Not the external examination of others and what are they doing and looking at your neighbors and wondering what's going on over there. It says to examine ourselves, whether ye be in faith, and to prove your own selves. And this is the aspect and the area that I see us most lacking in, that I was most lacking in. I was looking out and wanting to understand, wanting to examine everything and everyone else, instead of examining myself to see, well, shit, do I have faith? Because I'm wondering who over there don't have faith and why this person is doing this and that person's doing that, and I never examine, do I have faith? Then I began to understand the importance of, well, I don't have to prove you wrong. I have to prove myself right. To prove myself right, not to seek to prove you wrong, because to be honest, who are you anyway? Who are they that we want to prove ourselves to anyway? They're not there when I'm struggling. You're not there when I need assistance. You're not there to pick me up. You're not there even when I win. Who are you anyway that I need to prove myself to? Or it's me that's always there. It's me that has to get over the doubt. It's me that's fearful, uncertain, doubtful, hesitant. So I need to prove myself right that I can do that thing, that I am capable of that. Because doubt doesn't really start within yourself. You weren't born doubting yourself. You weren't born not believing in yourself. It's when you seek that validation externally, when we want others to tell us, or when we hope that they can give us something that we are meant to produce ourselves. For knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. This is a quote from Aristotle. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. So can we truly be wise without knowing ourselves? Can you truly be wise without knowing yourself? And one of the most interesting things that I saw is when I realized that I was on a quest to be intelligent. And I thought that if I got degrees and certifications, that would mean that I was intelligent, yet I couldn't explain myself. I couldn't explain my life and why I was going through the things that I was going through. Yet I believed if I can go through enough school and learn the world and everybody else's problems, that I was intelligent. And I began to want to know more about myself, to tap into this true potential that I keep hearing about. And I recognized really early, and I still am astonished by this now, about how just paying attention to me, learning myself, has taught me so much about everything else. Areas that I couldn't even fathom knowing about. Like, I didn't like math in school. There was a certain level that I would get to, and I'll be like, when are we ever going to use this? I was like using it to basically make fun of myself in a sense, because it was really a struggle to understand. So I struggled to understand math. So I didn't like it. So then when I made jokes about it, it was like me escaping, right? And then I grew up and recognized that math is everywhere. And actually, I really like math. but I didn't understand it in how I was being taught. So it made me dislike it. Yet I learned this by discovering myself. All of a sudden, I'm reading books on quantum physics. And if you look back in high school, I barely passed algebra. And I'm breaking down like concepts that I shouldn't even know about because I'm not a quantum physician. I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm not a biologist, yet I'm studying nature, the universe, and seeing and really understanding things that at one point in time I couldn't even relate to. So when Aristotle says knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdoms, at one point in time I would have looked at that and said that that made no sense. And now, because I'm on that journey, I can say that that's all we need. Like that's the number one thing that you need to know is yourself. And everything else will start to come, the understanding of everything else will come to you. And it's because we don't know ourselves that we can't relate to everything else. This is where I see prejudice, bigotry, racism, sexism, like all that coming from. It's because you don't know yourself. So you're going to talk about somebody else and infringe on someone else's space or their life because you don't know yourself. This is why we always try to talk about somebody else and what they should be doing and what this country is or isn't. And it's like, you don't even know yourself. You don't even know why you do the things that you do. And when we begin to go into that and develop that understanding, we start to release the hold that we have on everything else. We start to allow things to be themselves. To each their own. For he who knows others is wise. He who knows himself is enlightened. This comes from the Tao Te Ching, chapter 33. He who knows others is wise. He who knows himself is enlightened. For the power lies in knowing your own essence. So again, you can be wise in knowing others and what they're doing down the street and what your boss is doing and what whoever. But to be enlightened, you must know yourself. And that's a deeper study. And it takes a lot more to know yourself than it does to know somebody else. Yet therein lies the reason why not many are going to take that journey. This is why we don't see a lot of people going down that route. And it's because I understand that through the journey within myself that I no longer look for everybody to do it. I'm not one of those people that's hoping to save everybody or that believes that if everybody did this, like I know if everybody did it. Yet you got to take off the if when you're dealing in reality. And you realize that not everybody is going to do it. So then you have an appreciation for those who do. This is why if you've shown up to the live discussions on Wednesday and you're listening to this live, or if you watch the replay and you're tapping in on YouTube, like there's a great appreciation. Even if people are just watching the shorts and everything, it's a great appreciation, not because you're watching me talk, because you're tapping in and you're on the journey to unlocking yourself. And I know how difficult that is. That's why there's a great appreciation for that. Because to live inspired every day forever, you have to understand that it requires effort every day. And just that alone, effort every day, is a difficulty in itself. So simply by wanting to commit to that, you should be commended for that. Because there was a time when we didn't want to commit to anything, or we just allowed ourselves to just be taken by the flow, because we can't go with the flow unless you've created it. If you go with the flow and it ain't yours, where are you flowing to? There goes that Looney Tunes. And we go down the hole. Yeah, you just flush it and you just go wherever it flows, right? Until we begin to create our own flows. And so I understand the difficulty in wanting to commit to the journey and then taking the first step on the journey and then persisting through the journey. There's different stages. It's not that you're just on the journey and then all of a sudden everything is peaches and cream. No, it ain't. It's a lot of thunderstorms and you're learning how to just live through that. That is not the end all be all. You're thankful for that because you know that after the rain, when that sunshine, that's one of the most beautiful sunshines that you'll see, like after a good rain, and then you watch the sunrise. That's one of the most beautiful sunrises that you can see. It's one of the most beautiful things we can experience after the rain, after the pain, after we went through all of that. And now the sun starts to come out. That's one of the most beautiful feelings. Because during that storm, you thought it was going to be over. Thought this was it. It's the big one. It's done. And you made it through. And you get to reflect. In East Africa, there's a saying, mainly in Swahili, it says the axe forgets, but the tree remembers. And for me, that reminds us that as we go on this healing journey, as we're growing, we must acknowledge our scars too. You must acknowledge your scars to reclaim your true self. You can't ignore them and try to look away and not want to acknowledge what you've been through. I know we try to hide from that. We don't want to think about it. We don't want to look at it. Yet that's important. That traumatic experience that you went through is important for you to examine. And by avoiding it, we don't get to reclaim our true self. Because we weren't created to fear, nor were we created in fear. So we could never be inferior. So acknowledging those scars, this is how we really reclaim our true selves, not by ignoring them. And I know that can be hard because that's a traumatic experience you went through and you're thinking, I gotta think about that or revisit that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to relive that again. And in that statement, we can see the power of our thoughts, the power of our mind, where you can say, I don't want to think about something. And instead of think about it, you say, I don't want to relive that again, as if the thought is going to create that feeling that you're actually there again, reliving that moment again. And the truth of it is you are. The difference is this time we're in control. When you relive that moment, you actually are in control. And if we've ever seen those movies or in the movie when they are able to go back in time and now they can see that what was going on and they're seeing themselves and how they were acting in a situation, that's the power we have. You can go back to that situation and discover the true meaning in there that we were too afraid to see at the time because it was too traumatic. You can go back and help that young child that was fearful in that situation and understand what made them fearful in that situation. That young adult, even that elder, wherever you are in your walk of life. Yet we don't want to continue to avoid it. Because the meaning of self-discovery is a return to self. We're coming back home. So it's not about becoming someone new. This is what I thought in the beginning. It was like, oh, I can be somebody new, good, because I want to get rid of this person because I don't really like them. And I want to be more handsome and stronger and more intelligent and for people to like me and all this and all that. And I thought I was going to become somebody new. Little did I know I was going to be the same old person, only enhanced and upgraded. So it's not about becoming somebody new, but becoming the true you. You didn't have the lights on. So the picture you was looking at was somewhat distorted. It was hard to see. You was squinting and trying to figure out like, who is that? As we discover ourselves, we become the true you, who we truly are, not necessarily a new you or someone new. But now you bring out the best of you. It's about remembering who you are under all the noise. Behind all that whispers of doubt and distraction that we've picked up on this as we've gone through this journey of life. It's about stripping away the layers of conditioning, the fear, the false identity that we accepted, whether willingly or unwillingly. We didn't even know we could unwillingly accept. We didn't even know just by being there that we could become it. So this is why we have to be willing to revisit those moments, be willing to give ourselves grace, because there were things that happened that you weren't even privy to, but you accepted the blame for them. So the person that needs the most consideration from you, the most kindness, the most appreciation, the most understanding, surprisingly, is yourself. You say when you know better, you would do better. And you know that. So if you didn't know, how could you have done better? So why are we blaming ourselves and beating up on ourselves all the time for what we didn't know to do at that time? Now, when you know better and you don't do better, oh yeah, that's on you. That's on you. Yet when you know better, you do better. So if you're not doing better, did you know? Did you clearly understand? Again, we're not trying to be someone new, but something renewed. You can renew yourself. You don't have to try and get rid of who you are. You don't have to damage this thing because of a misunderstanding that was put upon your life, and that you may have unwillingly accepted. So now you want to damage your physical self or harm your physical self, or you want to talk to yourself negatively, diminishing who you are, taking power away instead of empowering ourselves. Instead of uplifting, we are pushing ourselves down, allowing ourselves to be minimized. Backing this up with scriptural wisdom, we look to Proverbs 20:27, where it says, the spirit of man is the candle of the Lord, searching all the inward parts of the belly. Self-discovery is spiritual illumination. Self-discovery illumes the spirit. For as it says in Luke 17:21, the kingdom of God is within you. So you are not lacking, you are layered. And you didn't know that you got to go through those layers. And yes, it can be daunting because as an onion, you peel one, you just keep peeling. That's symbolic to who you are. There's depth to you. Yet you have to build up the strength to go deep inside. Just like if you want to be a swimmer, we have to first learn how to swim. You got to learn how to float to keep yourself afloat in the water. Then you start learning how to actually swim, how to move about in the water. But what if you want to go underneath the water? Now you have to learn how to dive, how to hold your breath, how to breathe underwater, which means you have to strengthen your lungs. You got to strengthen your body to be able to increase your capabilities in it. And if you really want to go deep, now you need an oxygen tank. Now you might need a submarine. Simply saying that if we're envisioning how you must build yourself to dive deeper in water, same thing. We have to build ourselves to dive deeper within ourselves. Right now, a lot of us are just on the surface layer. We don't even know how to swim. We don't know how to float. We just got our feet in the water of life. Just put my feet in. I'm just at the pool looking nice. I just want to look pretty. I don't actually want to swim. But for those of us that actually want to learn how to swim, you have to get in the water and you must start in the shallow end until you're able to float. Then you can jump in the deep end. Now you're there floating in the deep end, which a lot of people have gotten to that point. They went in and they know a little bit about themselves. They're floating around. But then at some point, you got to dive under that water. And you got to want to go a little bit deeper. And then you recognize, oh man, I'm not there yet. So it's not that you're lacking anything. Develop yourselves to be able to go through those layers of yourself. For we keep being told that within us, and yet we see that majority of people are without. They walking outside, we are of the world, ruled by society, ruled by man, ruled by man-made laws and all of these things. And that's fine, wherever you want to be. Like I said before, the beauty is that you have the free will to do as thou will. You can or you cannot. It's your choice. We simply want to make you aware that you have the choice, that it is possible for you to experience, to live and inspire life. You don't have to. Just like you don't have to get in the pool. You ain't got to get in the water. You can put your feet in if you want to. Yet if you want to get in this water, you want to at least know how to float. If you want to explore, you got to know how to swim. So that's on you to develop yourself. It's on you to take up that challenge. You can hear about the kingdom of God all day, but it's up to you to go find it, to seek first or to seek not. For the Gospel of Thomas says, if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. Your truth, when expressed, becomes your path to healing and power. Your truth. You know, everybody says, well, that's my truth, and that's my truth. And half of them don't know the truth, the whole truth, or nothing about the truth. So help them, God. Yet when you do bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you, meaning your truth, when expressed, becomes your path to healing and power. And this, when we say live and inspire life, that is part of the live. To listen, invite, verify, and express. See, we don't like to express. We hold our experiences in. And you don't express until you can't hold it in anymore, and then you explode and it just comes out everywhere, all over the place. Yet when expressed, it becomes your path to what you are looking for, what you have desired, which is that healing and that power. It's not necessarily the money. You may have attribute that money to your ability to heal or have power. But really, what we are seeking for the most part is to heal and to be powerful, to have power within our own lives, not necessarily over someone or something else. I want to have the power to make my own decisions, to live the life that I want to live, which is to live inspired every day forever. So I want the power to do that. And I have the power to do that. And so do you. As what Gautama Buddha says, excuse me, the mind is everything. What you think, you become. What you think, you become. So if you keep thinking you are not enough, you will become not enough. If you think you are powerless, power will be taken away from you. Removed. You'll never see it. If you think you're poor, you will be that. If you think you're sick, you will be sick. What you think, you become. This is why we say you are what you believe. So believe, inspired. Believe, if nothing else, that you can never stop prospering. It requires effort daily. And if you had nothing else but that belief that you could never stop prospering, it required effort daily. Then in that statement, you told yourself what you're capable of and what you need to do to accomplish it. So then if I'm not receiving that, then it's because I'm not doing what I need to do. Life can be made more simple. We have complicated things. To not believe in that is to say that I can walk in a direction and never go anywhere. For even if you start walking in a direction, you're going to end up somewhere. Now, if that's not where you want to go, then maybe you're walking in the wrong direction. So if right now in your life you feel like this is not where you want it to be, then look back and see how you got there. Which direction did you come from? And then be like, damn, I'm here because I took the wrong path. Now, take the time, because you have it, to figure out, all right, what path am I supposed to be on? This is why self-discovery, a returning to self. We already were out there doing what everybody else said we should do. We did what our parents told us to do. We did what our friends told us to do. We did what society told us to do. And we ended up freaking lost, stuck, broke down on the side of the damn road. And now we're like, you know what? All right, look, we came back home. Now we're sitting down in our home and we're saying, okay, I got to remember where I was trying to go in the first place before I got distracted. What was I trying to do? Strip away all the layers, the conditioning, the fear, which is you getting lost, you listening to your parents, and then that didn't work out. You have to strip all that away. And now you realize, okay, I went that way because I was listening to those others, whoever those others were at that time. And now I want to begin to go internally to find out who I am, to be able to hear that true self speaking, to align myself with God and now get that direction where I need to go. Because the kingdom of God is within you, then why are we looking outside? So when we go within, and this is something that I'm stressing now as we move forward, because a lot of this internal talk, when we hear I, people mistake that and they think of it in an egotistical way. Because a lot of people, they don't go within, but they talk about themselves. This is not what we're talking about. This is not what we're talking about. Self-discovery is spiritual illumination. So as I go internally to discover more about myself, I gain a deeper connection and I remove myself from that outside world. We begin by mastering our thoughts and knowing when we were listening to our thoughts anyway and where those thoughts actually came from. Whose voice was that? There was a comedy show, it was like, whose line is it anyway? And it was improv. We were practicing improvisation our whole life. And now we want to, okay, there was a script that was actually written for us. Now we want to go off of that. And yet to get it, you have to go internally and discover your own truth. To align yourself with your purpose, which ignites that passion to continue on no matter what. See, people put them in reverse and they tell you about passion and passion and passion and passion. And then you can develop a passion about many things. The reason why we say align with your purpose is because once you see your purpose, you will have the passion to continue no matter what. Once you have your passion, a passion about something, but it's not your purpose, that flame can go out and now that passion is diminished. Yet when you found your purpose, the thing that you are here for, you won't have to worry about being passionate. It's going to be automatic. It's those external factors that won't understand it. And that's why we are going internal to kind of like put on those earmuffs. So we diminish that we hear outside that can come in and affect how we think, which then we act on. And then our reality is changed. And we're not understanding that it's that. You're acting on those thoughts that you did not have control or understanding of. And those thoughts were created by other people, places, or things. And it's because you had no internal direction that you knew not which way to go. So a question that we can reflect on right now about ourselves is, what do you know for sure about yourself? What do you know for sure about yourself? Because that is a barrier to self-discovery, not knowing ourselves for sure. Maybe, kinda, I think so. I don't know. You should know for sure. Because we surely know about everybody else, right? You surely know about why this celebrity is doing what that celebrity is doing in their life, and you got questions, comments, and concerns about them, yet you have no understanding about yourself. So we want to remove these barriers to self-discovery. And some of those common barriers to self-discovery can be the external expectations that are put on us, that maybe have came, that we took on from our parents, expecting us to go to school and be a doctor, a lawyer, or, to be honest, to save them from the decisions that they made. And I'm a parent. And these are the things that when I went internally, I had to think about. Why do I want my child to go do this in the first place? Why do I want my child to be a doctor or a lawyer if they ain't even the doctor or lawyer type? Like, am I actually paying attention to who my child is? Why do I even want them to be any of that anyway? Why is it that I say, this is what I want you to be? It's because I wasn't what I wanted to be. Somebody else told me what I should be. And then I thought that I should tell them what they should be. I don't do that anymore because I had to remove that from myself. I had to remove those external expectations that were put on me. And then it made me not want to put them on my children. It made me want to understand who they are and then help them become more of that, to align them with their purpose. Because the external expectations that I took on had me way away from my purpose. I would have never been here doing this. I promise you that. I couldn't say that by developing myself, I was able to withstand some of the storms that took others out. Then I'm able to sit here and speak on this app, to be on YouTube, to have 2, 3 businesses, to be helping other people overcome fear, uncertainty, and doubt in their lives and traumas and things that have impacted them. Because I was a person that was stuck under that rock. Because of those external expectations, I never would have thought that, okay, yeah, I'm somebody that I'm going to counsel others. I'm going to guide others. I'm going to coach others. No, I'm not. Why? Because none of that makes money. And I don't see people rich off of that. So why would I do that? This is how my mind was thinking, because coming forward where I came from, the expectation was to get everybody out of there. And it's on you. So I fully expected that I was going to be a basketball player or an entertainer, or I was expected by society to not make it past my 18th birthday, let alone my 21st birthday, let alone my 24th birthday. And then to say that you ain't never been in jail and you a black man, what? This is crazy. See? External expectations, I didn't put those on myself, but I began to assume the position. I took them all because this is what I was told. This is what I thought I saw around me. That was a barrier to knowing myself. That associated with past failures or shame, and I put air quotes on that because, again, we're shameful because of a loss that we didn't understand. So now we want to avoid it. And the shame is really in the fact that we look at ourselves for that anyway. You're shameful because you trip and fail, or you stumble. Now you're embarrassed, not recognizing that everybody trips, falls, and stumbles. So removing the past failures because you didn't fail, that was part of your purpose, to fail. Because how else are you going to succeed if you don't fail? Success doesn't live by itself. It's wed to failure and failure to success. They need each other. You don't see people who are successful with no failures and people who are just failures with no success. You see people who understand their failure and they pull from that to create success. And then you see people who don't understand their failures, so they avoid it and they just live in that. But even that person who's you think has failed, who is homeless, who has nothing, has a success every day. How you measure success and how I measure success is different. And that's what we want to understand. Have your measurement of it. What do you think it is? What does it look like for you? Don't try to measure up to me or to mine or to society for that matter. That's when we all fail. That's where the shame comes from, because something that you couldn't really do or shouldn't have done anyway, you're disappointed that you never did it, not realizing that it wasn't for you to do. So now you're over here like, I wish I would have did that. They said by 30 that you're supposed to do. Boy, that wasn't even in your, that's not even for you. You're not going to have that person's experience because they went through it. Finding out what experiences are meant for us. Because those past failures, that shame, it produces that fear. The fear that being judged by somebody. What are they going to think if I showed up like this? What will my family members think if they start hearing me talk like this? What will my friends think? So then I avoid it. I don't want to do it because I don't want to lose my friends. I want people to think that I'm cool. I don't want them leaving me. So I'm going to be unauthentic and I'm going to do things that aren't me to keep people around that if I was me, they wouldn't be around. Think about that. I'm going to be unauthentic to myself and do things that are not truly me to keep people around who, if I was myself, they wouldn't be around. Yeah. You're keeping those people around you. Instead of thinking, oh my God, why did these people leave? No, no, no. Oh my God, why am I keeping people around me who don't allow me to be myself? Because if I was myself, these people wouldn't be around me. So that's the cue to get them all away from you. Do whatever you need to do. Start being yourself immediately, right now, today. Matter of fact, you should have been yourself yesterday, but yesterday's gone. So now you got right now to be yourself and to start removing the people from around you so you can be in the places where you want to be doing the things that you want to do. But I know that we avoid solitude because it's hard being alone. Because we feel like, what do we feel like when we're alone? Why do we fear that? We fear being alone, and then we say, born alone, die alone. I got to do everything by myself. When do we start listening and hearing ourselves? Like, I got to do everything by myself. It's always on me. And then we say, if I just had somebody to, did you just hear yourself? You do it by yourself. It's just you. Maybe what's causing our issues is that we're not recognizing that we can do it. We can do more than we thought we could. And we were sitting there begging and pleading for somebody else to come help us when we could do it ourselves. We're just throwing a temper tantrum. We didn't know that. We didn't know. Yet it doesn't take away from the fact that we look kind of crazy when we're throwing a temper tantrum and we've been placed here with the ability to do what we want to do, to live our lives, to live inspired every day forever, yet we're not inspired. And we didn't even recognize that we could be inspired. That we're avoiding the solitude, we're avoiding ourselves, we're avoiding that time alone. So we are openly accepting and putting ourselves around, in, on, and near distractions. And it's that time in solitude that you need. And a lot of times we hear in our stories, whether they're biblical or uh, cultural, scriptural, we hear about a time in bondage, in prison, in the desert, lost. Those times speak about solitude. The time that you need to be by yourself in order to hear what you need to hear, to receive the guidance that you need to receive. Yet if we avoid that solitude time, if we avoid that desert time, if we avoid that time where we're lost, where it's just us, where we removed ourselves, or we're just sitting back in our own home just by ourselves, if we avoid that time, we don't develop the connection. And if we're not connected, we're disconnected. And that's usually when the problems start, when we disconnect. Yet, even in that, we have to, again, disconnect from what we were connected to begin with so that we can connect to what we need to connect to. So disconnecting from society, don't avoid the solitude. The solitude is us disconnecting from one so we can connect to another. So how to overcome this? I'm going to be honest with you. You got to be honest with you. You got to be radically honest. See, we think we're being honest with ourselves when we criticize. That's that's not the honesty we're talking about. Can't be honest. You're like, well, I messed up and I'm so stupid and all that. That's not honesty. That's actually you lying to yourself. Come on, man. Being honest with yourself, being radically honest with yourself is knowing that you are still worthy regardless of all that shit you went through. That you're still fully capable. You're deserving. To be radically honest with yourself is to know that just because I lost or just because I fail doesn't mean I'm a failure forever. That's a moment. Now we can overcome that. We take what we need to know from that, what we need to learn, and apply it to our lives. Being radically honest with yourselves is knowing that no matter what you went through, it does not necessarily determine who you are. Just because you had a failed relationship before, just because you got fired from a job, just because you lost your money and whatever, that didn't determine that you're not a good person. That didn't determine that you don't deserve love, that you don't deserve another opportunity. What determines that is what we do after that. In that moment, that's what determines who we are. You have to spend time in silence. I know. See, that wasn't so bad. But you now have to spend time in silence. Take time to cut it all off. Cut off the phone. Don't scroll. Just put it down. Just sit in silence. Just sit there. Have you ever heard the birds chirping outside? Have you ever even heard what it sounds like in your own home when it's quiet? Has it ever even been quiet in your own home? Have the TVs been off? Have the lights been off? Has your phone been off? Have you even tried it? Most of us avoid these things. Spend some time in silence. But this, okay, let me Let me qualify this. This is only if you want to overcome the barriers of yourself. If you don't want to go deeper within yourself and unlock who you truly are, your purpose, you don't have to do any of this. You don't have to spend time in silence at all. You can keep the TV on. You can scroll all you want through any social media. You can do what you want to do. Excuse me. And if you want to dive deeper, if you want to learn not just how to float, how to swim, and then how to dive deeper, then you will take these steps. You'll be radically honest with yourself. You'll spend time in silence. And in that silence, you can take out a pen, or you can take out a pen. I was going to say you can pull out your phone. No, because we want to put the phone down. But we want to journal without filters. And that's something for me that has gained more importance. Because when I first started journaling, I wanted to put filters. I wanted to kind of like sugarcoat it, be like, well, it's not so bad. Now I just tell it like it is. Like yesterday, I had a moment. Yep. This happened, and this happened. Because when I go back to read that, it gives me a authentic account of what was going on at that time. And that's more important. Imagine if you can go back to your younger self and get an authentic report of what was actually happening. See, when we think about it, we might add or take away things, but authentically to remember what happened in that moment, you're going to see things that you didn't see. Whereas we look at something that happened and we may forget the courage that we had in that time, the resilience that we shown, the strength, the determination. We might just have seen ourselves fearful, and somebody else may have seen us looking like a superhero. So being authentic allows me later on to understand, but it also allows me to express. So to relieve myself, whatever emotion that I had at that moment, whatever I was going through at that time, when I'm journaling without filters, it gets removed. It is the release that I need. So I don't have to run to alcohol like I used to back in my younger years, or drugs, because to get a release, I'm able to release that, to relieve that. So I'm not relying on things that I build an addiction with, because I'm not releasing and relieving myself. So then I get addicted to that thing, because that thing I have associated as a release or a relief for myself. So every time I do that thing, it's like, oh, a release or a relief. That's where the addiction is tied to. So when I'm able to relieve and release myself, now what do I become addicted to? That. I become addicted to journaling without filters. I become addicted to spending time in stillness. I become addicted to being in silence. I become addicted to developing myself. It's not that one person who has an addiction and another person don't. No, we all have them. It's just what are they, and how do they attribute to your life? Do they uplift you, or do they pull you down? And anytime we are putting something as the middleman, where we're giving that power to that thing, is going to diminish us. It's going to pull from us. This is why the drugs and all that, they pull from us, because we put the power in that relief and that release into that thing. So now we need that thing in order to feel that. And lastly, we need to let go of the need to be understood by everybody. Because that ain't even a thing. That's not realistic. You are not here to be understood by everybody, because everybody don't understand themselves. So how could they ever understand you? You are on a journey to understand yourself. So why are you trying to understand everybody else? This is what causes confusion. I don't understand me, yet I'm trying to understand you. You don't understand you, yet you're trying to understand me. Know thyself, and all things become understood. And there are just those who ain't never did it who gonna say, no, that's not true. You gotta, and your job is not to argue with them. Your job is to say thank you and go about your business. Arguing with a fool only fools yourself. And scriptural wisdom to back up this section that we we're just talking about, it comes from John 8:32. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. And saying they said, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. That freedom comes through truth, not performance. So you can perform all day and act like you know it, but we know it because you can show it. It's not because you can recite it and because you remember it and because, no, that ain't it. And when you are free, you're not tied down to things. And we can see that. You can feel that. So this truth is not something that we need to say anyway. This truth is something that will be felt, that will be seen, that will be shown once we are understanding of it. So this too goes into why we don't need to be understood by everybody, because they don't even understand the truth when they see it anyway. So how are you trying to be understood by everybody? We are the same people that wouldn't know God if he was standing right next to us. Because we don't know self when we looking in the mirror. If we're looking in the mirror. Your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens. This is a quote from Carl Jung. And if you know anything about Carl Jung, then you understand the not just the importance, but the impact of that statement, that your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens. This is a man that brought to us a deeper understanding of psychology when before it was only an external understanding of everything. This is also the nephew, I believe, of Sigmund Freud. And if you know who Sigmund Freud is, or if you don't, just Google it. But now you can see that these where this understanding sits. You have the external and the internal. And if we were both all on the external side, believing that outside us and all this and all that, now we're going internally and seeing that it's the internal that we were lacking, the inner understanding, the inner alignment that we need. Yet again, if we listen to the Navajo, they tell us something very wise that we need to know, that you can't wake a person who is pretending to sleep. You can't wake a person who is pretending to sleep. In order to be authentic, you have to confront the masks that we wear, that you put on every single day. I got to put on this mask so I can go to work. Got to put on this mask so I can be around my family. I got to put on this mask so I can be around my friends. I got to put on this mask so now I can go on social media. You can't wake a person who is pretending to be asleep. And yet, Buddhist proverb also reminds us that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So if the teacher ain't there, keep prepping. What fear or belief is standing between you and your truest self? The question we want to reflect on. What fear or belief is standing between you and your truest self? And now at this time, we're going to get into the practices or the tools for deepening self-discovery. So how can we deepen? How can we go deeper within ourselves? How can we go from just putting our feet in the pool to learning how to float, to then swimming, and then diving deeper within ourselves? And as I spoke about early, getting one of just a book, notepad, handy dandy notebook, like Blue's Clues, growth journaling, get a journal, right? And one of the prompts that you can put in is, who am I becoming? Question mark. Leave it blank until it comes to you. Or if it comes to you right away, write it down. Yet remember that you are journaling without filters. Take the filter off. Who am I becoming? Get real with yourself. Only you know what that is. That growth journaling, that journaling without filters, is also leading into that self-inquiry. Do we go internally and ask ourselves questions? Why do I believe this about myself? Have you ever asked yourself, why do you believe the things about yourself? Whatever it is that you believe, why do you believe it? Why do I believe that I can live inspired every day forever? Because there was a time that I didn't believe it. And so I found it to be true through my experience. So this is why I believe that losers inspire. Because at one time, I believed I was a loser. At one time, I accepted that. And then that became empowerment in my life through creating an acronym. It stands for love, outreaching, set expectations, rewarding self. Once I recognized that as a loser, that's actually what I'm doing. The loser is the person that is doing the experiment. Because without that loss, I don't understand how to win. It's the bridge. So whenever I think of loss, I think of it as to love, outreaching, set expectations. So I have to do that then. So now I find ways where I have to lose in order to reward myself. So now you call me a loser, I can laugh. Loser, I am. So what? Cool. And what happens to the bully when you laugh in their face? They become mad. You're not sad no more, though. You're not destroying yourself. Now you have the key to empower your life, so you don't worry about that anymore. They go away. They disappear. Just like the nightmares, like the monster under the bed, like all those things that we used to believe in that we found out are not true as we challenge those things. We need to challenge why we believe the things about ourselves. We need to meditate. You need to get still. And that don't mean like this. People get real stiff. They're like, so that means I have to sit still and not have any thoughts. And then, man, just sit down. Just get still, relax. Because most of the time you're moving. You haven't even recognized how difficult it is just for you to sit down like this. Just not move. Put your hands on your knees and just sit there for 5 minutes without moving your hands off your knees. Just look how hard that is. It's not about trying to eliminate every thought you have in your head, like basura. Just sit still. Take it one step at a time. Can you sit still? Can you be in that posture to relax? And in that space to then speak your truth. To then speak your truth. It doesn't require an audience. It just requires you. Are you willing, able, and ready to go to war for yourself? Or in first chapter Corinthians 11:28, it says, but let a man examine himself. But let a man examine himself. Have we not seen the theme that we must examine ourselves? We must go internally. These are the things that we haven't been doing. The self-reflection is a responsibility, not a luxury. I know we think it's a luxury that I'm able to go in myself. No, that's your responsibility. That's what you're supposed to do. And as we're reminded of that this is a responsibility, not a luxury, we'll understand what our commandment is and take that more seriously and begin to enact that in our lives. And then we can let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works, as it says in Matthew 5:16. For your authentic light is going to inspire others. Own it. I know that my authentic light inspires others. Otherwise, I wouldn't be living inspired every day forever. At a time, I did not think that I can inspire anybody, that I couldn't do anything, that there was no wisdom, there's nothing that I can understand. Who would be inspired by me? I haven't done anything, blah, 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 blah. Excuse me. And I had to challenge that. After the first person said those words to me, man, that was so inspiring, man. I just want you to know you inspired me. I stopped. Wait, what? Who are you talking to? Me? I? How? What? I'm confused. I'm literally lost. They are trying to give me something. I'm saying, no, take that back. That's not mine. Here, you take this. You know how many times in your life you do that? Somebody is trying to present you with a gift, and you're saying, no, I don't deserve that. Take that back. Imagine God sent you a gift, and you said, after you have been begging and pleading and asking to receive, He sends you one, and you say, no, I don't deserve that. Please take that back. I'm waiting for God to send me a gift. That's what we're doing. We can't identify when it was sent from God because we're not connected. So a lot of times we're sending back gifts that were meant for us to receive because we're not connected. And we think that we're waiting and then it's supposed to look like something. That's those expectations, those societal expectations that it's supposed to look like something when it comes to you. Will you understand what it looks like when it comes to you is the question. And Lao Tzu tells us, he who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior. That's why the bully isn't really the strongest. It is the bullied. Once the bullied actually conquered themselves, they become the mightiest warrior, and that bully is no longer existing. It's no longer even a thing, a factor, gone. So a reflective question that we have for this is, what practice helps you stay connected to your authentic self? What do you do on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis to help you connect to your authentic self, that person in you that you may have been pushing down, pushing away because you thought nobody would like them? They're not cool enough. I mean, who cares? They're probably the coolest person in the party because everybody else lame, everybody else lazy, always making excuses. You at least are trying new things. You at least are developing yourself. You at least are doing the things that you want to do. Hey, I dress like this because I wanted to wear this. That's more powerful than doing it because everybody else is doing it. So now all y'all look alike. What y'all, triplets? Everybody, y'all came dressed alike. How y'all knew that? It's not cool. And so putting it all together now. 3 questions that I would like for you to reflect on. First question: what does self-discovery mean to you right now? What does self-discovery mean to you right now? Secondly, what part of yourself are you reclaiming in this season? What part of yourself are you reclaiming in this season? Man, answer that for myself. And lastly, number 3, what practice do you want to commit to for deeper inner alignment? What practice do you want to commit to for deeper inner alignment? For me, that practice has been Qigong. I really have been leaning on this to help me commit for deeper inner alignment. It could be something different, and answer that for yourself. If you would like to, put it in the comment section if you're watching this on YouTube, or DM it to me, whatever. Hey, feel free. That's on you though. We want for you to answer the question more than anything. And so, final thoughts. Just a reminder that self-discovery is not a destination. It's a devotion. You devote yourself to this for the rest of your life, every day, forever. And as you uncover who you are, you unlock who you were always meant to be.